Welcome back to KT TV, bringing you some more of our collectible collection. Today we're going to be looking at the Australian buses and coaches made by Trux. Trux is also a model car company which make Trax in a 143 scale. These buses are all 176 scale. Trax also do some trucks as well, not many. In this series that we're showing you today, there's 88 made of these Australian buses and coaches. I don't think they've made any for quite a while, so this probably is it. I do have a substantial collection, and what I'm showing you today is just a small part. We're going to be starting off today with this one here, and I'll turn it around. All the information is there. This is obviously a 1947 Albion Ventura double-deck bus. This is a 394, which used to go to La Perouse in Sydney. And that the Trux code for this is 2X2B. So they always start off with, say, TX1, TX2, 2B, etc. And they can go up to H's and J's and L's, which we'll see somewhere along the line. So I'm going to actually unbox these because these are fairly easy to do, which we'll do it right now. This has a bus number 2127. Now this is all totally copies of the original buses that were going around Sydney. So this is what it would have been like in real life. Obviously not that small, a bit bigger. So we'll open up the box. Inside it comes in a couple of plastic housings. And the easiest way is just to tip it forward to bring it out. Another little bit for the roof there. Quite detailed, as you can see at the back. It's got its number plate. Now the number plate for the government buses were always the bus number, and it was M/O, which is motor omnibus. I think you'll find the private numbers M next to O. So that's how much it was licensed to carry. Fairly detailed inside. You've got the seats, the stairwell, up the front. That's what she looked like, hand cranked engine. And as I said, these were seen all over Sydney from various depots. Even note the opened driver's windscreen there. You can see a bit of a gap. Underneath, got a bit of detail. Not terribly too much, but there it is there. Trux stamped on the bottom. So that's TX2B. The next one we're going to show is this guy here, TX6J. Now this is a 1946 Region double-decker ex New South Wales government that was sold to private company, which in this case is Stradbroke Holiday Services. It's quite a nice looking bus. Now as you can see in the bottom left, in the corner on this one, it's actually got Top Gear, which is, they came into it in some of the later productions. It's still made by Trax. So take this guy out. And it's very similar, except here you'll notice it's got a private number plate. The route number box up the top has been covered in, which a lot of private companies did when they bought these off the government. Some even modified the doors, the windows, as you'll probably see later on some of the newer buses. Next we're going to have a look at is the Mercedes-Benz series. These are Mark II Mercedes-Benz from 1978. That is a Sydney Explorer bus, which, as I used to be a government bus driver from 1986 to 1991, I actually drove this, and there'll be quite a few more that I've driven as well. And I actually owned one double-decker coming up very soon. So beautiful Sydney Explorer, which is no longer with us. It's a Mercedes-Benz 0305, Trux code TX19B. Now I'm not going to take every single bus out, because you can probably see all you need to see from here. Bus number was 2498, so the corresponding number plate will also be M/O 2498. That one. Now these buses coming up are all pretty much the same. 1978 Mark II Mercedes. This was 510 to Ryde Depot. 1951 is the bus number. And there's a bit of information on the back about it. This was the largest placed order of Mercedes buses in Australia for 550 vehicles at the time. Probably still has that record. And I drove many of these. They were a very big step up to the Leyland Leopards that we were driving. So as I said, there's 6 in this series of Mercedes. There's a later painted livery. It's the newer one. This is Sydney Buses, this one. And this was an L20 limited stops from Parramatta. You can note they've changed the bus number, fleet number, up to the top of the roof now instead of down the bottom near the back wheel arch. And that's what it says there. Then we've got another one, but this one is Newcastle depots. They were called Newcastle buses, not Sydney buses. Same bus. That's all about that. TX20 route 327 to Newcastle. Now some people say route, some people say route. I was born in England, so it's route for me. This is a very nice model bus. This was celebrating the 50 years of government buses in Australia. TX20C. Now this is a Mark III Mercedes, not a Mark II, but they look quite similar. You can see by the destination, Dulwich Hill Shops. And we have one here which ended up at Gold Coast. This one is a private bus for Pacific Fair, the shopping centre. Destination up there, Southport via Nerang. IBC Mark II Mercedes TX23. Now some people, as with Matchbox buses over the years, we call them Code 3. That's where they might get, I'll just show you this one. So they might buy that bus and they might decide, well, I'm going to put some different paint on that, or I'm going to put some my own advertising for my own company, and we call it a Code 3. I don't collect Code 3s because they're not made by the company. Matchbox had a very similar thing with their Matchbox buses. There are lots and lots of Code 3s out there. I don't find them very interesting to collect it all. Now this bus for me is probably my #1 bus. There's a few reasons for that. I was probably the last person to get trained on this bus in Sydney. I took this bus, I never took it in service, but I took this bus out for a long ride for the half a day, and I ended up buying one of these buses, and myself and a couple of friends, part owner, we redid it for the museum, so we restored it back as good as we could. This one here is a 372. This was from Randwick Bus Depot, which I was stationed out of. So Coogee Beach 372. This thing has a lot of memories for me. Just turn it around, you can see it. TX17D. This was the first of it, the one-man bus operations, which had a bit of an industrial action because of that. And you're going to see some lovely versions of this bus. Next up we have the all advertising versions of this. Whiskett's 440 Opera House by Parramatta Road. It's a lovely coloured bus, that one. You have the bank card 330 from Bondi Junction, so this would have been out of Waverley Depot. This is probably one of the most sought after for its colours. It's the Sony 438 Abbotsford. Beautiful model. Hard to come by, this bus. Then we've got a couple of these buses that were turned into private buses. Buck Rogers Night Tours, I think that was out of Melbourne. And also from Melbourne After Dark, Australian Pacific, which were a private coach company. And speaking of coaches, we've got some now. McCafferty's. Old Denning, this one. I've driven these as well when I used to drive coaches. 1980 Denning mono coach, Brisbane based. This one unfortunately was in a very bad accident, causing a lot of loss of life. It's pretty much the end of McCafferty's not too long after that, but still a piece of Australian history, McCafferty's. Lovely old coach there. Then a very similar Chalmers coaches. Same coach. You've got one from Aussie Express. Adelaide to Sydney, apparently, this one. So I live in Adelaide. I don't see it going around now. And we've got a couple of, you can call them double decks, high decks, but these are lovely Dennings. Denning was a very Australian unique coach. Had an absolutely massive engine in this thing. It flew. Now this one was down in Tasmania. Tasmanian Redline coaches. And we've also got a Ballarat coach. Yet again, lovely. There are quite a few more in this range, but I haven't got them all. We're going to finish off these buses with the 1952 Leyland Tiger OP S2, obviously a single deck. There, Route 129, Rockdale Station to Rozelle. That was in the south of Sydney, Tempe bus service. So this was a former government bus from Sydney. Now this one was a government bus as well, and it still has the fleet number on the side, Bankstown. This is also 1952 Leyland Tiger. So this went from Canterbury to Bankstown since 1937, a long time ago. And then we have a 1953 Daimler CV. This is Taronga Zoo, Sydney's well-known zoo, across the bridge on a Route 229. That's TX1, this model, so this is the first model that came out by Trux. And we have two more 53 Daimlers. This is also government livery, Manly Wharf, bus number 2661. And finally, I have this guy. This is Wynyard, bus number 2700, also a Daimler. And this one would go over the harbour bridge. So that's it in our next in a video of buses, the start of the buses. I do have quite a bit more, but they're all packed up, but I'll get them out on another video. Just going to go through the different things that we do have and just give you guys a look. I don't need to unbox things like this because you can clearly see them. I might just do one in the beginning and then you'll get the idea. I've got some sci-fi stuff from those of you that like the 1960s and 70s English shows, Thunderbirds, Space 1999, UFO, Captain Scarlet. Got some things like that coming up. They're already pretty much unboxed. They're already just sitting there. They're pretty rare to get one still brand new in a box. So anyway, we'll show you that on the next one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We need to grow the channel as much as we can, and by you guys subscribing, it's just really going to help with the numbers. And it helps us with some good feedback. Any ideas that you've got, which are nice ideas, we're willing to listen to everything, but I'm not going to put up with negative and bad insulting comments. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.